Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer and today is Monday, and on Monday we show our makes for the past 7 days, give or take. I have kind of an almost finished object I want to show you and my idea of what we're doing with that. I forgot my blanket. Where's my blanket? I also a bit... Hang on, let me think. It's hanging up. Hang on. Hang on. Alright, I got it. I got it. As you can see, I'm moving around much easier. Still not pain-free with my leg, but like I'm doing much better. I made quite a bit this week. Made quite a bit. I started off the week kind of slow, but then I really got into the roll. I really began to roll with the punches and got some stuff done this week. So now before we get started on the makes, because what we do on Mondays is I show you my makes for the past 7 days, give or take a day or a week or whatever, like the past whatever. I talk about what's been going on, an update with my life in our world of Cinnamon Land and all that good stuff. So I have plans for videos this week, but I don't know how well they're going to come across, and I'm just giving a fair warning this week that construction starts on our house today. I say today because you're watching this on Monday, but really tomorrow for me because I'm filming this on Sunday. They're starting construction on the house tomorrow, and we got a lot of stuff. It's all exterior stuff that's getting done currently, but like it's a lot. It's going to be noisy. In case you don't know, Mr. Cinnamon has hired contractors to rip the roof off of our covered deck because the roof has been damaged since we moved in 12 years ago, and it kind of caves in at the peak. So whereas the peak should be completely plumb, it's not. It caves in the middle, and we've had someone else to try to jack it up to fix that center beam, and it just continues to sag in the center. And if we get a good snowfall, that roof is going to cave in, and that could mean somebody could die, or like, you know, it could cause serious damage. So it's just better that we get the roof taken off, and it's cheaper to get the roof taken off, and they're fixing the deck up too because the railings are, they're old. Everything in this house is, I think, pretty much from build date, which is like 1992. I think this house was built. There's a lot of things that just they're in desperate need of repair. We're having the siding and the gutters replaced, and the gutters need to be replaced because we had a blizzard, not last year, but what was that, ice storm? It wasn't a blizzard, but it was a bad ice storm. And it wasn't last winter, but it was the winter before that, and it damaged a lot of our gutters because tree branches were just hitting the house left and right. There's a little bit of damage on the side wall, and we haven't got it fixed. And so it's time to get all of that repaired. So there's a lot the next couple of weeks. I don't know how long construction is going to take, but it's going to be intense, and I'm not looking forward to the racket and dealing with the dogs barking all day, and that's why I don't know how well videos are going to go. This week I'm going to play it by ear, but if it gets too rough with the filming, I'm just going to probably work my entire weekend next weekend and get all the videos taken care of for the following week. Although I don't know if they're going to be here on Saturdays or not. I don't know how any of this is going to work. We're just going to play it by ear, guys. I do have a tutorial coming up for a tree skirt, a Christmas tree skirt made out of this gorgeous sparkly stuff from Premier. We're going to use the sage green, and it's glitz. It's so sparkly. We're going to use the sage green and the red, which I have back here in this basket. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a unique tree skirt, like one you have never seen before, and I'm super excited about it. I was talking to Mr. Cinnamon about it last night because I got an idea, like it popped in my head. And I've been going through all these different ideas for the tree skirt, and I'm like, okay, well, I want something unique and different that's not been done before. And I was thinking about designs and shapes and colors and stripes, and I was thinking, how could I do this that's really going to be like a cool tree skirt, right? And then this idea popped in my head and I started researching it. So I was looking online to see if there's anything like what I was seeing in my head, and there's like nothing. And I was like, all right, it's gonna be a cool tree skirt. So I'm like really excited. And I am going to start designing that and trying to record the tutorial this week for that. But I'm really excited about the tree skirt. And then I was talking to Mr. Cinnamon. I was like, what do you think about this idea? And he was like, I think that's really cool, and I think it's unique, and I think it's, you know, and he got excited and I got excited. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But again, that's gonna have to wait and see what happens with the noise. So they're doing the deck work first, and then after they take care of the deck, then they're gonna start on the siding and the gutters and all that stuff. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so what have I worked on this week since that pretty much... Oh, I didn't tell you about Halloween. All right, so I had a couple people ask, how was Halloween? How was trick-or-treating? So what happened on Halloween, you guys know that my leg's broke, or excuse me, my ankle, because every time somebody corrects me, I thought you said it was your ankle. It's my ankle, it's my foot, it's the ligaments that go up my leg, it's all of it. Relax. You don't have to be right all the time. We're good. All right, so, I knew that I was not going to be trick-or-treating, and I know a lot of you suggested a lot of things for me to be able to trick-or-treat with him, and I just knew that I was not going to be able to. So we live in a region that is not in the mountains, but we're like close enough to the mountains where the land does this, okay? All of our streets do this. We don't have sidewalks. We live in kind of a rural area, even though it's a neighborhood. We don't have sidewalks. The hills are very, like... If you've ever seen the Halloween videos I've shown in the past, like my neighbor is on a hill. So even if I rented a scooter, I don't think it would be safe to like drive a scooter up some of the hills in my neighborhood. I know that that would be dangerous. I can't drive him around because I can't drive because my right foot is broken. That's your driving leg, right? So there's all these reasons why I could not trick or treat. It would not be safe for me on my scooter on these streets because none of them are level or flat, and like I've already had enough trouble with the scooter, and it's a whole thing, okay? It's just not, it's not safe. And so I actually asked Juju if she would take him trick-or-treating, and she did. And they actually came home 3 times during trick-or-treating because of different things. So we bought Little Man, well, Mr. Cinnamon bought Little Man a blow-up costume. Don't ever recommend those for children. It was nothing but disasters from the get-go. Okay, the first costume, and it's a Fallout Guy's costume, but it's one of those ones with the fan, so he looks like a blow-up thing, right? It fills with air. It's like a balloon animal, right? The first one we got did not work, and we returned it to the Halloween store, and they said that they've had so many of these returned that he suggests we test it out before we take it home. Second one worked, he said, but there's been so many that just don't work. The fan don't work, the battery compartment don't work, and it's made really cheaply. It was $55 for a costume that looks like it's Dollar Tree parts, okay? So we tried to take him trick-or-treating at his school, and he just finished his race. So he ran for a mile. He's hot, he's sweaty, he puts on this costume, and it's hot outside. It was 80 degrees outside after his race. And the fan just made him, he walked maybe 100 feet. And he was done. He said, I gotta get this costume off. I can't breathe. It's too hot in here. And when I pulled the zipper, just hot air flew at me. And I'm like, oh my God. I told Mr. Cinnamon, I was like, he needs a backup. Because this is not gonna work for trick-or-treating. I can already see it's gonna be a disaster. He was having a hard time walking in this stupid costume. He was getting overheated. The fan wasn't pumping cold air. It was just heating him up. And I knew it was going to be a disaster. I was like, we need a backup. So Mr. Cinnamon went to the drugstore. He went to Walgreens and bought him a Scream. You know the character from Scream, the killer. The scary face ghost, whatever it's called. Ghost face. He bought him one of those masks. Because that's what Lucas wanted to begin with. But for some reason, Mr. Cinnamon talked him into getting the Fallout Guy costume. And I would have vetoed that right off the bat if I went in that Halloween store, because I just predicted it was going to be problems. And it was. Juju said they walked down the street trick-or-treating and he fell 3 times within a block, and the last time he fell really hard, and the lady that answered the door was like, oh my god, are you okay? And Juju said the costume's gotta go, he can't do this. So he had his pumpkin run shirt on, like from his marathon. He had a mask on. And the second time Juju came home, she was really mad at one of the neighbors, because I've told you the people in this neighborhood are just jerks. They're idiots. They think they're better than everyone else. They are entitled. They are just, I hate these people in this neighborhood. I cannot stand them. She said that this lady had a serious problem because Lucas was not in a full costume. He only had his mask on. And Juju was like, he can't, like he tried, he had problems with his other costume. And then Lucas, instead of saying thank you when he got his candy, he said, Happy Halloween, which is his normal response. And the lady goes, you're welcome. And so Juju was ready to fight this lady because she's very protective of her little brother. And I was ready to drive over to this lady's house and fight her myself. I was just like, don't mess with my kids. Don't do it. And you know, I had this problem when Juju was little because my kids are way bigger than what they are. Like, he's 9. He's the size of a 14-year-old. I know this. Okay? Same thing with Juju. She was the size of a 14-year-old at 9 years old. And in previous years, I used to go to the community board and be like, hey, like, don't judge these kids. Like, my 9-year-old's out there trick-or-treating. She looks much older than what she is. Don't judge them. Just, like, pass out the candy. It's better that the teenagers are trick-or-treating instead of getting drunk and stealing people's stuff and, like, breaking their pumpkins. It's better that they're trick-or-treating. Let them enjoy their childhood for as long as they can. So we had several kids come up to the door long after the little kids were done. We had a ton of candy left over, and they were teenagers with their backpack on, facing forward open, and they got handfuls of candy because they weren't out drinking and drugging and sexing and all that good stuff. Now, let me get down off my soapbox, but I haven't done that with little man, and I'm just like, whatever. He doesn't register the insults the way that me and Juju do. Like, a lot of stuff flies over his head. And I ain't pointing it out that people are jerks to him. Like, I'm not going to hurt his feelings if he didn't get his feelings hurt, you know? And so, it's just really frustrating. It's really frustrating. And also, you don't know. He looks normal. You would never know that he's ADHD or that he has, like, you would not know talking to him under normal circumstances. So you can't judge a kid by the way they look either size or what their mental capacity. You have no idea looking at a kid. You have no idea if that kid's autistic. You have no idea. It just drives me crazy how judgmental people are. Anyway, let's get back to the fun stuff. Anyway, so he got a good amount of candy. He was happy. He came home on his own terms. Juju was tired. I paid her to take him trick-or-treating. She didn't want the money, but it was a big favor to me for her to do that. And like, you never know. Like, Juju quit trick-or-treating when she was 9. Like 9, she was done. And actually, no, I think she was 10 because she went with little man when he was little, and he was a handful, but she was not much. She may have been 10 or 11 and she quit, and you just don't know when it's going to be their last year. I had no clue that was going to be her last year. So, like, I just want to make every Halloween special, you know, even if I can't go trick-or-treating. But I sat Halloween night in the driveway and passed out candy, and I've never been able to stay home since Juju has been born and pass out candy because I've always been the one to take them trick-or-treating. So, Mr. Cinnamon does it big. He does fog machines. He does laser lights. All the blow-ups were on. Some of the Halloween lights were on. We sat in the driveway. I brought my crochet out. We passed out candy. I got to interact with a lot of the kids and stuff, and it was really fun. And then I started to realize, like, even when the trick-or-treating is over, I can still enjoy Halloween as an older person because I really loved interacting with the kids, like, so much. It's the first time I've ever been able to do it. And there was a little kid that came dressed as Jareth, And if you don't know who Jareth is, it's the Goblin King from the movie Labyrinth. It's who David Bowie is. He was like 4 or 5 years old dressed as Jareth, and I freaked out. I lost my mind. I love Jareth. I love Labyrinth. I love David Bowie. I freaked out. It was so cute. And then one of the parents came dressed as the Grinch, and I fangirled. I was like, can I please take your picture? He even sounded like the Grinch, and it was so cool. It was so much fun. So this is me, and you can tell Mr. Cinnamon is blurry because he was putting the speakers out for the music, and I was crocheting. And I had my glow-in-the-dark. Oh, here's Little Man. This is before he had to switch costumes. He only trick-or-treated for a small little section. He had fun playing as Fall Guys, though. He had a good time for the short amount of time he was doing that. And then me and Mr. Cinnamon sat with the music playing, and we passed out candy, and I crocheted in between passing out candy with him, and we had the music blast, and it was Halloween music, and it was just fun, and I just really enjoyed my Halloween. And we bought Juju sushi for dinner, and Little Man ate Popeyes because that's his favorite. And they had that pre-trick-or-treating, but I also made beef stew in the crock pot, and it had literally cooked for like 10 hours, and it was so perfect and delicious. And everybody had, after trick-or-treating, beef stew, and everybody really enjoyed it. And then after that, Juju made dirt cake, but she made it mostly sugar-free and gluten-free. So she bought sugar-free pudding. If you don't know what dirt cake is, because you never heard of it, okay, it is this weird concoction of like pudding and whipped cream and cookies. So it's not actually cake. It's like you crumble the cookies up and they absorb in with the pudding and the whipped cream, and it kind of makes like a really moist, mousse-like, cake-like dessert. Okay, it's delicious. Think cookies and cream ice cream, but without the ice cream part, okay? So she bought, it has cream cheese in it. It has, you mix the cream cheese with Cool Whip, which she was able to get sugar-free Cool Whip, which I didn't know they made. And then she got sugar-free pudding, which you also mix in. So that's like the base of the mousse type thing. So it's Cool Whip, pudding, and what did I just say? Cream cheese. So like a cheesecake type mousse, okay? You crumble and you layer it with crumbled Oreo cookies. Well, they don't have sugar-free, gluten-free Oreos, but they got gluten-free Oreos. So I told her, can she just make me one with just like 1 or 2 Oreos in it? I was thinking like a little tiny cup, right? She fixed me a bowl with like the equivalent of maybe 4 Oreos in there, but they're gluten-free but not sugar-free. But everything else was sugar-free in the thing, so it was like seriously reduced sugar, and I ate like a quarter of the bowl because I did not want to put that much sugar in my body. But it was so delicious. And you can put gummy worms on it, and instead of putting gummy worms on it, she put gluten-free gummy bears, because most gummy products have gluten in them. And so I was like, I don't like gummy anything. I don't like gummy worms, I don't like gummy bears. So I ate 1 gummy bear. And she was really hurt because I didn't eat more. And I was like, Juju, I just had beef stew. Like, I'm full, and it was a lot of sugar, and it was really good, and I really enjoyed what I ate. But she was a little bit hurt that I didn't eat more. But like, I really appreciated the effort, and everybody enjoyed the dirt cake. And it didn't taste sugar-free and gluten-free. It tasted like it's supposed to taste, which was fantastic. She's a good little baker. She's really good with desserts and stuff like that. And it was really cool that she was able to alter the recipe to make it very low sugar and gluten-free, and I really, really appreciated that. Okay, so that's Halloween. Halloween was fantastic. We had a lot of fun. The next day it got really windy, as it often does here on the day after Halloween. I don't know why it gets windy. I know you can hear him singing. How did you all 3 get in here and I didn't notice it? All 3 of you are in here, Mama? Bentley's behind me. Oreo's in the dog bed. Scarlett is on my lap. Alright, so the wind blew so much it knocked our 13-foot Jack Skellington over and his base broke. So he needs to be repaired. But I told Mr. Cinnamon, like, I will duct tape him if I have to. And it's just the base that he stands on cracked because he tipped over and the whole thing didn't tip over. And I was really, really disappointed. And Juju is yelling from the outside because I asked her to go check on it. She's yelling from outside that his base is broke. And I thought she said his face was broke. And I'm like, not his face. Like, I can repair the rest, but not his face. Alright, so on Halloween, I decided to crochet for Halloween. So I did the October section of the Jada and Stitches blanket, and we'll give you a quick rundown. We're gonna do super quick. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and October we did pumpkins. Can you guys see? Alright, pumpkins. So, Jada's pattern, very easy to follow. Her blanket is going bottom up, so she started January at the bottom, so I have to actually reverse all of her patterns and do it from the top down, whereas her pattern reads from the bottom up. But to me, like, I read graphs better than I read words, so I could do all kinds of crazy stuff with those graphs. Like, it just is so easy to my brain, and I know not everybody thinks that way. And I don't know, I had a really easy time with this blanket, and I was talking to Jada the other day, because we talk back and forth through Etsy. Like, I pay for, she does the videos for free for every one of these patterns to show you how to do it. I pay for the pattern that she writes out just so that I have the graph on my phone. Now, she keeps the graph in the corner of her video, so you literally could do the same things. Just hold the video up, keep the video up, or screenshot the video and pull the graph up. You could do that. She makes it easy either way. And I just prefer supporting my girl because she puts a lot of work into these graphs. And I really have appreciated over the past year really just getting to know her through the emails and talking, and it's been really, really cool to interact with her the way I have, because I have followed Jada for longer than I've had this channel, and Jada is the reason I learned how to crochet. She really is. And to have her be friend-like with me, it just is so cool. It's so cool, and I so appreciate it. So I told her, I was like, it just has been, I'm surprised that I finished as far as I have. She released my brain is scrambling, I'm sorry. I have way more thoughts in my head than I have the words to come out of my mouth. I told her, I'm surprised that I was able to get this far. She released November, which is a sheep, okay? And anybody who is a crafter of yarn arts has to appreciate, unless you can't use wool because you're allergic to it, you have to appreciate the sheep, okay? Because if there were no sheep, there'd be no wool, there'd be no yarn to start with that eventually, like, it all came from the sheep, okay? Or the alpaca, or the llama, or whatever. Camel, they even have camel fiber. Like, you have to appreciate these animals that are able to give us their fur, their fleece, their fuzz, to be able to create cool things, right? So, like, the sheep, you gotta love the sheep, right? So she made November a sheep, which I was thinking she was gonna do a turkey, and I was like, turkey is fitting for Americans because our Thanksgiving, our turkey day, is in November. But then I was thinking, like, she's Canadian, so she celebrates Thanksgiving in October. And then I was like, I'm really, every month I have tried to guess what she's going to release. I've been wrong 100% of the time. Like, I expect things, and then she does something totally out of left field. And that's why I love Jada, okay? She released the pumpkins, but she also released acorns and leaves. Like, you had options for October. So you can see I didn't do a good job at carrying my yellow over. Now, the yellow I could have she does bobbins, and I could have done the bobbins. I could have. Actually, I did do the bobbins. That's where I ended it and weaved it in. We're good. Okay. So the way you do this is you make little bobbins. You don't have to do the bobbins, though. She shows you how to make your own. I bought my bobbins because that made my life so much easier. I didn't want to make bobbins. These are bobbins, okay? These are real cheap on Amazon. I can link them below if you're interested. Just let me know. You wind so much yarn on here, and then these attach, okay? And this, I used the yellow. I wrapped the yellow around this so that when it was time, the purple just carried all the way across. The orange, I carried all the way across. The green, I carried all the way across because it was only 2 rows and it was 4 stitches for each section. So I just carried the green across. I made my life easier. And then the yellow, I bobbined up. And then, as you can see, I got ends to weave in. Actually, I'm not even going to weave those in because we're going to be putting a border on next month. So her pattern for the pumpkins, the eyes looked more sinister, which looks really cool. But I wanted my pumpkin to be more of a friendly pumpkin. So I changed his eyes to be like circles. Although his smile's a little, I totally messed this one up. There's a few mistakes in the blanket, but I don't care because it's my blanket. So anyway, his smile's a little sinister, but he's got goofy eyes. And I changed the eyes a little bit from her pattern, but that's what makes her pattern so easy, is you can literally color on the graph and change it a little bit. And that's what I did, is I just changed his face a little bit. And this entire blanket is made out of sparkle yarn, which has been a challenge finding some of these colors in sparkles, but I finished that. I worked on it Halloween night while we were passing out candy, which was extra festive. I didn't finish it. Did I hit you with something? Sorry. And I finished it the following day because I wasn't able to finish it on Halloween. But having this thing draped across my lap and working on it on Halloween night actually kept me extra toasty because it was really chilly outside. And I had quite a few people tell me that it was a really good night to knit. It was a good idea to knit tonight because it was going to keep me warm. And I didn't correct them, but one lady actually looked at me, and I think she definitely knew the difference between knitting and crochet. But she started off saying knitting. I had on one of these. This is from Rosie Posy Knit Co. These are patterns. I had on the ghost one that glows in the dark. These are just headbands. They're super cute patterns. Rosie Posy Knit Co. Okay, she's on Instagram. That's where I know her from. I had my headband on, and this is knit. And I don't know if she was looking at my headband and just saw that this, and she said knit, and then she really looked at the blanket and she goes, or crochet. So she knew the difference. So I was kind of impressed with that. Anyway, next thing I worked on, you guys know I made the tutorial for the hooded scarf. Made with the Premier Basix, the hooded pocket. I'm messing my hair up royally. The hooded pocket scarf. I didn't like this at first. I'm gonna be real honest. I didn't like the way it was turning out. I didn't like a lot of things about it, but it's grown on me a lot, and I really like the way it turned out. And I like the hood, and I like the scarf, and I like the pockets. And I think next time I would do it in different colors. I would definitely do it in different colors. But I really, really fell in love with this yarn. Now this is the Poppy. This is the new Poppy yarn from Premier Yarns. And the solid color is the Premier Basix Super Bulky, which these are both brand new. And they both go really good together. And working with the Poppy and the Basix, I realized that this yarn is really soft and squishy. I just really like the way it worked up. And I was like, this would make a really good blanket. Or like a mat for, like, I always think about the dogs, like a mat for the dog bed, or a mat for the dog cage, or like a blanket for the dog to lay on. Or this would be a good yarn to use for like a mat for the floor if you have like baby that needs tummy time. Like this would make a good mat for that. It would make good rugs. It would make like really warm winter wearables as well. And so because I enjoyed working with this so much, and I really like the squish and the softness, because this yarn is really soft. And even though the Poppy has 20% wool in it, it doesn't feel like wool at all. It just feels like acrylic. Like I can't tell the difference between the two yarns. Like this is 100% acrylic, the brown and the red, and the Poppy is 80% wool, or it's 20% wool, 80% acrylic. You can't feel the difference when they're worked up. You can't feel the difference working with them. So I liked working with this. I really liked working with this yarn. So because I enjoyed working with it so much, I decided to make something else out of it in a different stitch. So I also like that you could fold this up and it folds into a square. It ain't no weird shapes. Alright, so, before I get on to the next thing I made with the poppy yarn, I royally screwed my hair up. Okay, so little man, like I said, the day after Halloween was really windy, really chilly. He asked me to make him a hat, which I don't have because it's in his backpack. He asked me to make him a hat, and of course, little man's favorite color is red. So I had some yarn in this color, which is red. It's kind of like a, it's not quite brick red, but it's like a crimson brick red. I don't know. Anyway, this is Charisma. And then I had some old hometown USA. Okay, so I figured I was going to try to make him one in this red color. And as I was making it, I was recording the... You gonna lay down, Bumpus? I was making the members video for this weekend, and as I'm making it, I'm like, this hat's gonna be too big for his head. It's gonna be too big. Like, it just looked too big. And I made it smaller than what all the normal bulky patterns called for because I was making it for his head. I also have a really loose tension when it comes to knitting, so everything comes out bigger than what it should be. And I always, no matter if I have a hat pattern or not, which I did not use a hat pattern, I have to take stitches off, like sometimes 10, 12 stitches off of the project to make it the right size, especially the hats. So the hat fit him and he loved it. But, isn't he cute? I keep getting told he is your twin, and if you looked at pictures of me my entire childhood and his pictures of his entire childhood up till now, he is a spitting image of his mom. He looks just like me as a little kid. He looked like me as a baby. He looked like me as a toddler. He looked like me as a 9-year-old. Like, he is his mom. He is more his mom than he is his dad. But that's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, I had some left over, but what? I was just checking to see. They're all in here. Scarlett wants you. So because I was panicking making that, and he wasn't here for me to measure it on his head, I made a smaller hat just in case, but I knew I didn't have enough red to make a second whole hat, so I mixed some of the Hometown USA. This is a long been discontinued colorway. This is from 2010. It's actually dated. This is the color Mardi Gras. I love this yarn so much. It is so pretty. You see the way it works up? I love this hat. It don't quite fit my head because it's a little kid hat. But I mean, it almost fits my head. Let me take my ponytail out. It almost fits my head. Like, my ears are still exposed. But super cute. Super cute. So I knit those two hats. Isn't that just adorable? So that'll be a spare hat in the closet in case he decides he wants to wear it. He didn't like that hat. I don't know why, but like whatever. Actually, we're just gonna leave that down because I have more hats to try on. So I did that. Alright, and then I decided to pull out some more Premier Yarns because you guys know that Premier Yarns has released a lot of yarns the past couple of months, and I have really fallen in love with some of their new yarns. And the Poppy was new, the Basix was new, and they have this new Painterly. You guys know, I already showed this yarn. This is the Premier Painterly yarn. It's anti-pilling acrylic. It's got these cool little micro stripes. And in the review of this yarn, I talked to you guys about how it was going to work up in micro stripes with knit, and I showed you the samples on the website that it's like little knit strips. And then I talked to you about how it would work up in crochet, and then I showed you a swatch. And so I worked it up to show you and talk to you about the way that it would pull in crochet with certain stitches. and that if it would look drastically different than the knit. And so I wanted to make a crocheted hat that looked like the swatch that we worked up in that video. And so I did that, and I'm kind of in love with this hat. And I was debating on whether I want to do a tutorial for this hat because this hat was ridiculously easy. So we started off with Granny in the center. Okay, and see how it's got these cute little pops of color? It's very just like, it reminds me of like little flowers. Like, I really like it. I think it's so cute. And this yarn, while it looks white on the screen, it's actually got like a little pink tinge to it. See how it's got like a little bit of a pink hue to it? The white is actually not white. It's like, instead of off-white, it's like pink white. And this one is the color Neon Lights, okay? And then I did, from the granny stitch in the round, I came down and I did single crochet, double crochet in the round. And when you do it in the round, you get these cool like diagonal lines like this. Except this is the back side of the stitch, so you actually have to do this part like inside out. And I did a little bit of third loop half double crochets, and then I made a cute little shell border. I just think this is so cute. It reminds me like a little cloche. And so I'm kind of in love with this hat. And see, this in the half double crochets, it gives you like little stripe sections. So it's unique. I just think this is so pretty. It reminds me of Strawberry Shortcake. I just love this hat. I love the way it turned out. So I was thinking about doing a tutorial, if enough of you are interested, doing a tutorial on this hat, because I really think this could be a lot of fun. And then I had a little bit of this yarn left over, so I decided to knit a hat. But because I only had a little bit of this yarn left over, I brought out, because this is anti-pilling acrylic, I brought out more anti-pilling acrylic. My needles are all stuck in there. I have the color Bright Pink in the Everyday Anti-Pilling Acrylic. And I thought that those would go perfect together. So I made the brim out of this. Now this next hat is knit. I'm so in love with this. This is like 1986. This is Strawberry Shortcake. I don't know what this is, but I love this. This is what I mean by micro stripes. Okay? Is this not cute? And it pulls in a weird way, so some of the hat has less stripes than the others. But I am so in love with both of these hats. And I told you guys I loved this yarn when I first bought it. I loved it so much. And this hat is so stinking cute. And if you don't want to make it with all these cute little color splotches on here for this tutorial, like you can use a solid color and do this, or you can use the Premier also has a really cute speckled yarn that is like a white base with like colored speckles all over it. I mean, there's lots of, Premier's got lots of options, okay? So there's my little, I'm gonna call that Strawberry Shortcake cloche. And then this is the knit hat. Is this not the cutest thing? So the yarn that was left over from the crochet hat only got me about right here. So I had to open a second ball. But luckily I had a lot left. I mean, I bought a bunch of this yarn. I love it so much. And I'm probably going to buy more because it's just so stinking cute. And this is the cutest thing ever. I'm just thinking like, how cute would this be worked up either way, this way or this way, in like a cute little baby sweater or a baby outfit, a baby dress. I'm thinking of all the things. Because this yarn, because it's anti-pilling acrylic, it is ridiculously soft. It's got a nice sheen to it. It feels good, and these colors are fantastic. I just love this yarn so much. These hats are adorable, and they're both going to be mine, and they're just going to stay mine because this is my style all day long. Both of these, like this is Jen. That's so cute. It's just cute, and I know not everybody's going to like that spotted effect, but I think it's adorable, and I love it, and it makes me happy. All right, so. Now that we did that, is this not the cutest hat you've ever seen? All right, if you're a knitter and you want to know how I made this, I think I cast on, how many did I cast on? I think I cast on 78, because I started off with 72 and it was too small. So I cast on 78. Keep in mind I got a big head though. You can do 72 or 78, does not matter. as long as it's divisible by whatever you're going to do your decrease as. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I did, yeah, I did 6. I did a 6 peak decrease. So whatever you want your star shape to look like on the top of your head, you just need that number divisible by, and you kind of need, now here's the thing. I do 2 by 2 ribs, so I need it a number divisible by 4 and 6 or it doesn't work out. So my math is always wrong with these. I always mess up somewhere. I always do. So I think I did a cast on a 78. I did a brim about yay big because that's about 2 inches. It's about a 2-inch brim. Then I changed to this yarn. I just knit in the round until I got, I think, like 7 inches here. And then I did a quick decrease where I divided it by 6, I think, and then I did a decrease at those 6 points every row until it closed off. And I just love the way that worked out. I just love the way that worked out. Now, let's try to fix my hair again because I don't think I'm gonna need my hair again. I really like the poppy, and I had 3 more balls of the poppy. And because the balls of poppy are literal balls, they're big giant balls, I was cleaning like a mad woman in here this week because like it was getting cluttered because all the Happy Mail, and because of I made a couple purchases and I couldn't figure out where to put anything, and I'm getting frustrated, and there was like decorations in here for Halloween which I've taken down. And so I took down a lot of the Halloween decorations. I cleaned a lot of things. I put my fabric away from when I made the Halloween bags. And because I'm able to get around easier now, I was able to put things where they belonged. So I did a really good deep clean, and then I had the big giant balls left over, which were in this big old bag. They're big balls of the poppy. And I was like, we're just gonna make them into something. I'm just gonna work them up into something so I don't have to find a place to store them. And I also really like the poppy yarn. Like, I enjoyed it. It's squishy. I liked working with it. So I started crocheting, and my idea is I wanted a big giant thick wrap to wrap around myself. This is the equivalent of 3 balls, but because I have a big body, it doesn't wrap around as much as I would like it to wrap around. And what's crazy is like, it's super stretchy. Like, it's so stretchy. And I know after wearing it a couple times, it will be more than long enough. But I want it to be just a little bit. Is this not fabulous? It's so fabulous. I really feel bad for you if you can't use wool because this yarn is fantastic. Is this not cute? Okay, I just feel like I'm going to like a movie premiere or something. I got one of those like dresses that is made by like a plus size fashion designer. This is me walking down the red carpet. So anyway, this is with a 10mm hook, which I thought I had on my desk because I brought everything in here together. It's here somewhere. 10mm hook, right? Yes. And I did a chain of 30. I did the first row single crochet, and all the rest of the rows are single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, the next row, chain 2, go up to the next row, and in all the spaces where you put the chain 1 in between the single crochets, you put the single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, that next chain space. I think it's called the seed stitch. I could be wrong about that. Very simple, very simple. I just did it till I ran out of yarn, but it's not quite long enough. I mean, it will be when it stretches. I know that it's going to loosen up, but I wanted it to be extra long, and so I'm thinking, okay, I'm out of poppy. I ran out of the poppy yarn, so what could I do? Because I do not have, and I don't want to order more yarn. So I am not a super bulky type of person. I don't have it in my stash. My main stash is DK weight and worsted weight. Although all of my wool is like thin yarn, but like the majority of my yarns are worsted and DK because DK is my favorite, but I use worsted most often for the channel because that's what you guys like. Now, I'm looking, I'm like, I don't think I have anything that A, would match color-wise, and B, is bulky. I just know that I don't have it. And so I'm looking and I'm looking. Now this bottom shelf under here, underneath Brunhilde, or that's Winifred, this one's Brunhilde. Under Winifred, down here, this bottom, right here, this bottom shelf, that's my fat yarns. Okay, that's like 5 weights. There's a couple of 4 weights on there, but it's mostly 5 weights. And so I went and I saw that I had some of this. This is from AC Moore. AC Moore does not exist anymore. Stitch Studio from Nicole does not exist anymore. This yarn came out right like a couple months before AC Moore shut its doors. And AC Moore went out of business. It wasn't just 1 or 2 stores. Like all AC Moores went out of business. This is the Bell yarn. And I have made several things out of this. And this is my last 2 balls of this yarn. In life. In life. I know that there's no more down there. There's Premier Serenity Marled is down there. My puzzle is down there. The Rustic, I got a ball of Rustic, which is a Premier yarn as well, which is also really nice. Rustic is probably the most similar to the Bell yarn. And I'm like, this blue, while not the same color blue, totally will look good with this, because this is more of a purple blue. It's more purple. There's blue in there. There's blue right there. All right. Yes. This color. So I'm like, I have 2 balls, and these are 100% acrylic. These are 263 yards. So one of these is the equivalent of 3 of these balls. I may only need 1 of these, because I just want this to be about this much longer on each side, and I'll be happy. So while this is not a finished, it's technically a finished object. But then I came in here and I found that I had more yarn to finish to make it longer. So you will probably see this again next week, because I'm going to sit and work on it today and make it even longer. But is this not so cool? Look at the colors, it's cool. And it's so, like I said, it's so soft and squishy. And like, watch this. This is how stretchy it is. Which is crazy for wool to be this stretchy, but it's because it's mostly acrylic. But even to get a stretchy acrylic that's this, I mean, this is a cool yarn. It is a cool yarn. And it almost looked like it was doing planned pooling. See how it's going like this? I think you probably could, and see how it pools. I think you could probably do a really cool pooled effect with this yarn. Like, I really think you could plan pool this. It's just neat. I really like this yarn. I like everything. Here, I'm gonna let you look close up. I'll stop moving it so much. I just like the way the stitch looks with this yarn. And I like the way the colors pooled up. I just think it's neat. And I know some of you are gonna hate this, because some of you cannot stand wild colors mixed together, and this is probably loud and obnoxious to you. But just think of how good this is gonna look with the blue on the end. I really, really like this yarn. I really like this yarn. So I did a lot of projects with Premier Yarns this week, so I'm happy about that. The only exception is the blanket was sparkle yarn, and my sparkle yarn is mostly it's a mixture of Mary Maxim sparkle yarn and Hirschner sparkle yarn, and whatever else I can find in my what I can find in my stash that's sparkle yarn. Like, it is a true blend and mix of whatever sparkle yarn is on the market. Some of that is Big Twist sparkle yarn, because it is impossible to find all of the colors at one time. So I asked Jade, I was like, can you just give me a heads up on a border, because are we doing a border? Because I think I'm gonna need to order more sparkle yarn, because I'm almost out of sparkle yarn. Like, I've used so much. And I've ordered more, and then I've used that. So whatever her plans are for a border, she's not telling me any information. She just said yes, but that's all she would tell me. I'm probably gonna have to buy some more sparkle yarn. So with that, I'm kind of excited about that. I'm excited. I'm going to work this month on all at one shot. I'm going to put the sheep on for November, which I think is perfect. Sheep in November. I don't care about turkeys that much. don't get me wrong, I love eating turkey on Thanksgiving, but like November to me, and I said this in the members video this weekend, November to me is very much pre-Christmas, because my family has celebrated, since we left Michigan as a family, we started celebrating Christmas on Thanksgiving Day, and we called it Christgiving because that's when me and Mr. Cinnamon could come back and visit with our family, well, my family. And so for me, November is more than just Thanksgiving. It's more than just a turkey. And I really love the idea of the sheep, because that's something, the blanket has a lot of memories of other people put into it. So the tulips represent my dad, because he died in April and he loved tulips. And so that's April. And the open heart, closed heart, the beating heart for February. I mean, that's personal because of, like, I have heart issues. And that's why I made the open and closed heart. And then there's graduation day for Juju's. Graduation is in May. And, like, there's a lot of little details that represent other people. But the sheep, like, that makes it my blanket. And I'm really excited. I'm trying to think of, do I want to do white and black sheep, or do I want to do a background of green with a black and white sheep on the front? Like, how do I want to do this? Because there's lots of ways you can make it your own. And so I'm really excited about making it my own. And then also, she released like months ago a Christmas tree. So I'm going to do Christmas tree for December. And then I can do those both at one time. And all of these patterns are either in her Etsy shop, or they are on her Facebook or on her YouTube as a tutorial. But I'm really excited about putting those last two strips on there, and I'm really excited about figuring out what her border is going to be. And I just can't believe I made it the whole year, because you guys know, with the way I am, if you've been around for any amount of time, you know the Cinnamon Stitches brain is all over the place all the time. Okay, I have not officially been diagnosed with ADHD, but my brain works a lot like Lucas, who has been officially diagnosed with ADHD. And like, I cannot stay with something for a long time, which is why I will often abandon large projects. Ask all the projects up there. Like, I already quit on the knit sweater. I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't like it. I quit the knit sweater. I'm like, I don't need a knit sweater that bad. I tried. I can't do it. So I think it's going to be turned into a crochet sweater, and we're just going to be happy with that, because I don't care. I got more than enough yarn to make it a crochet sweater. It's on punishment right now. Actually, I put it in one of the boxes up there because I was like, I'm done. I just can't. I got other things to worry about right now. But I'm really excited that I got this far, and I know that I'm going to finish this blanket, and I stuck with it all year. Been a lot of fun. And Jada does this every year. She does the different blankets every year. She's done these big blankets with appliques that you make and you sew on, which was really cool. Again, I would have hated that, just because the sewing the appliques on it was too much. I wanted one of those blankets so bad. I was like, I just can't, because I've made a blanket like that for Halloween a couple years ago. I sewed a bunch of pumpkins on a pumpkin patch background, and it's a cool blanket. I hated it. I hated working on it. It's beautiful. I love the blanket itself, but like, no, hated it. And then she did a quilt, like a patchwork quilt, where you take the different shapes of the patchworks and you create a patchwork quilt that way. And she's done a stitch sampler where, like, all year she just made blankets that was different stitches, or different strips, different stitches in the strip. And while I've worked some of the stitches from that pattern, I didn't make the blanket. But she does something cool and unique, and specifically Jada N Stitches every year. And this is the first year I've ever participated, and I got through it. I've seen so many podcasters through the years start a Jada N Stitches blanket and abandon it. And they're still working on it 3-4 years later. Like, yeah, I never finished the Jada N Stitches blanket. And I have really had fun with this, and I just think it's really cool. And I like the collection of the graphs that I've collected. I have some of the graphs that I have collected from her collection, but I haven't put into this blanket. But I want to put it into future blankets. Or I actually have another one that I'm working on that's blue and white. That is, it's the graphs, but it's completely different than this. It's just blue and white all the way through, and it's more like Dutch tiles and is really cool coming out. And Jada actually designed a windmill for me for the blanket, which I can't wait to put that on. I'm going to try to finish that by the end of the year too. I think I'm ready to put on the bottom strip and then the bottom of the blanket. So so far I have 3 seasons on the blue and white blanket. I have like the first part of the year, which is like the snowflake, the heart, etc. And then the second part of the year, which is summer type grafts that I picked from her selections. And then I have fall, which is like Halloween and, you know, cute little fall type things. And then for the 4th strip, I want to do like winter type stuff. But I already have the snowflake on the top, so I'm trying to figure out what I want that last strip to look like. And after I finish the last strip, I want to do the windmills on the bottom so it really looks like Dutch tiles. And then I want to do like this really cool border. I already have it all in my head what I want it to look like. I just got to figure out what I want for the winter strips. But she has lots of options, so it's not, the sheep is definitely going to be in there. It's definitely going to be in there. As a matter of fact, I may put a whole row of sheep above the windmills. I don't know. I just really like the idea of the sheep. I have had so much fun with that blanket. And if you guys ever decide you want to make one of those blankets, you don't have to make, like, you can take and just make one square every month and make a cuter, like, smaller little version of the blanket, like baby size blanket. You can make the whole thing just like paw prints, for example, or cupcakes or like whatever. It was really neat. So that is what we have been working on the past week. That's what's going on in Cinnamon Stitches land. I'm going to actually go to the couch, kick up my feet. I'm going to crochet some more on that. I really like the way that is turning out. And then I have yarn hauls to show you this week. I purchased yarn from Lion Brand because they were having a really good sale, which I told you guys about. That yarn came in. I went shopping with Juju. We went to Joann's and Hobby Lobby, so that'll be another video this week. And then I also want to try to get out the video for the tree skirt, probably for PEOW, but I have to make sure I'm going to be able to actually record that tutorial this week while construction is being done on my house. I really wish I had a soundproof room to film in, but I do not. I have thin windows and thin French doors, so like there's no holding the noise out of this room. But those are some of the things I'm gonna plan on and try to get up this week. And yeah, I think that is it for today. I hope you are having a fantastic Monday, and I hope the rest of the week just goes brilliantly for you. And I hope you are crocheting or knitting or working on something that brings you joy. I really do hope that for you, and I hope you have peace in your life. I hope that for me too this week. I really do. I posted in the Facebook group a question. I wanted to know what everybody's working on. Like, are you working on things for the holidays? Because the reason I went to Hobby Lobby and Joann's is because I needed to find a specific yarn for a Christmas project. And we're going to talk about that in the upcoming week. So I was asking, like, what is everybody working on for Christmas? Are you making presents? Are you making decorations? Are you making Christmas ornaments? What are you working on for the holidays? Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, I don't care. If you don't celebrate anything, what are you making for the winter time? Because winter is coming. Unless you're in Australia, then what are you working on in Australia? Are you working on summer stuff? Are you making a cute bikini? Just let me know what you're working on, okay? And I'm going to let you go, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.